Welcome, beautiful people. I'm your host, Lenny Harold, and you are now listening to Cosmic Radio. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and others. I thank you for joining me today. This is going to be this is going to be an interesting one. So we just going to jump right into it. You know how we do. We just going to dive on into it. We going to dive. We going to dive. Okay? We going to dive. Yeah. So through my journeying and through my quest and through my inner reflections and inner meditations and self-exploration, I have come to a realization of something that has changed my perspective in a brand new way. And that is that these low moments that I have been going through, these uncreative moments that I have been going through, this feeling of being lost, this feeling of being unwelcomed, this feeling of wanting to be by myself, these feelings of just non-clarity, have all stemmed from a place of complacency. And what I have come to realize is that the spirit of us all, when we get into those moments of complacency, that's the moment where anxiety and depression starts to grow its ugly head. But it's almost like our brain's way of trying to cope with it, when in all reality, this is the moment where we should be seeking exploration even more, because it's almost like our soul is striving for something fresh and new. It's looking for change. It's looking for something other than. It's looking to explore. It is looking to explore. This realization kind of excited me. I don't know why. It painted itself. A different picture was painted for me in this extraordinary way, in my mind and in my heart and in my soul and in my spirit and in my. It lined up, and I realized what was happening. I needed more. I'm looking for more. And looking for more is not a bad thing. It is something okay. It is, I think we are programmed as human beings to think like, oh, I don't have this, or I didn't meet that goal, or there's so much more on my bucket list that I haven't achieved yet. So now I'm down. I'm lost. I can't figure it out. Where do I go from here? And those are those moments where it's not about being down on yourself or being hard. It's like, okay, so what am I going to do to get to that point where I can check off that bucket list and meet my goals? This isn't a moment to be down. This is a moment to celebrate the achievements and small wins, medium wins, large wins, big wins that you have achieved, and saying, okay, now let's paint a brand new picture. Let's create a new list. Let's create a new formula for how I'm going to get to where I need to get to and where I want to get to. So this change in perception came very beautifully to me. Because as you guys know, I have been just like, not that I've been down. There have been some days, I'll be honest, that have been a little heavier than other days. Of course, we're human. But for the most part, I'm just like, what is it? What am I looking for? And it's not about me looking for something. It's about me remembering that, and remembering who I am, and that I have the power to create and recreate any moment of any day at any time. And this is this power that we all have. We all have this moment. Like, if I am not happy with who I am in this moment, I have the ability to change that. I have the ability to decide, okay, that doesn't work for me. So what do I do now? What do I do now? How do I change this? This is not providing me with the outcomes that I want. So let me just retreat for a second, recreate myself, and go back into the situation with a different mindset, with a different me, you know? With a different intention, with a different purpose, and see what comes out of it that way. And this is the beauty of who we are and what we are. And I have this line in a song that a Nat beautifully wrote. We are all created from stardust. So we are the epitome of what the universe is made out of. We have these abilities within ourselves, but we have to come to a point where we embrace them and use them, um, and acknowledge the fact that they're there. A lot of times we ignore those abilities, and we think that, we might not be of the same mindset of somebody else that seems to be chugging along their own quest in their own journey. Um, um, but forgetting that we are made from the same things that they're made out of, and we should not compare. We should not compare. There's nothing in comparison that affords us any type of victory at all. Embrace the uniqueness of yourself, because that uniqueness is the very thing of why you are placed on this earth. You are to connect with the same uniqueness that might be out there. Know that you're not the only one that has that uniqueness, but it's about finding your tribe and speaking to that. Or for those people that are looking for something different, now they have something to gravitate to and say, okay, now I feel accepted. Now I feel like I found my people. Now I feel like it's possible. This is the moment where we take the impossible and we cut off the M, and we only exaggerate the possible. And sometimes that takes a unit, that takes a community, that takes I don't want to sound culty, but that takes an environment. That's a better word. It takes an environment to birth that way of thinking, that way of mind, that way of spirit. And with that same energy that you're putting out into the atmosphere, you'll receive. All right. So enough of that, of my introduction, because that introduction was a whirlwind, I'm sure. I have a few notes here of some things that I have been observing throughout my weeks. I know last episode was a little bit like I felt like I was hard, but it was just, for me, I was acknowledging something where I didn't feel like we were utilizing our creativity and our fullness. And I just wanted to inspire us to move in the fullness of our creativity. And sometimes in that is storytelling that might offend some folks, but once you get to the lesson of it all, then you find out that same thing, that whatever that harsh story might have been, there's something beautiful at the end of it. That's like anything, when a seed is planted into the soil, it takes time to progress into that beautiful, let's say, tomato tree to blossom that fruit, and through that, it takes some hardships. It has to now start to root. It now has to bust out of that seed. It now has to start digging its way through the soil to even get to the sunlight. It takes some hardships. It takes a little journey. And that's life. That's life, but that's neither here nor there. So today's episode is about, as you guys see, I'm really excited, is about putting on your cape. And I know, I have some songs from the Cosmic Project, which is about putting on your cape, carefree. I have a line in there about putting on my cape. The Warrior Project is about that same thing, and for the most part, it embodies that concept. Excuse me. I just ate, y'all, not too long ago. So if that was listen, I'm sorry. But yes, the Warrior Project is about embodying that warrior and seeing yourself in in your current thought of what is the best version of you, and labeling that your warrior. So if the best version of me is super confident and fearless and unapologetically me and super creative and inspiration, if that embodies love and peace and light and joy, all of those things are part of that warrior. And that warrior is somebody that I go, okay, I'm stepping into a room. All right. I'm not going to be me. I'm going to be that warrior, to the point where after I keep doing that a certain amount of times, going into everything, or any environment or any situation, I'm going, all right, I need my warrior to step up, because right now I can't do it. After a while, you won't even have to say that to yourself, because your warrior will be who you are. And this is this ability that we have of recreating ourselves. But it takes belief, and it takes a transition in mindset to say, I may not be that thing right now, but I know I will be that thing. But until I do become that thing, I'm going to fake it till I make it. And this is a saying that I think, runs over, like flies over people in so many ways. Like, fake it till you make it is not just about it is not being fake. It's about embodying that thing that you truly want to be, and saying, I'm going to draw from that confidence. I'm going to draw from that entity, from that person, from that thing. And I need that thing to possess me. And I know that that's strong, and even when I was going into the Warrior Project, like, that was what I wanted. This was this mindset that I was trying to embody. I put all my weaknesses and all my flaws out on the table. And I said, look, this is who I am. These are some things that I'm not too happy about. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, even though those things existed, and even though those things are in the past, or maybe even some of those things are in my current mindset, I am going to be possessed by that warrior figure, by that superhero, by that prime, optimum person that I want to be, that energy, that flow that I want to be, that's going to have a rippling effect on humanity and on the world. I'm going to allow that idea to possess me, to take me over, and for it to fill in the voids of who I am currently. I recently did a show at a mixer, shout out to Breaking Hits, where, I hadn't sung in a while, and I was a little nervous about it. But I stepped into there and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to allow my nervousness. I'm not going to allow any of these things to take over my mind from the greatness that I am. And even in that moment of me saying the greatness that I am, let me break this down. Even in that moment, I felt like, oh, that was so egotistical of me. But at the end of the day, if I don't claim it, who's going to claim it? If I don't claim that for me, who is going to claim it? So I needed to have this frame of mind of not being afraid to say, yes, I am great. I am powerful. I am light. I am an inspiration to people. This is who I want to be. And so be it. I will be this person. And I will say that I will be this person. I'm going to will that into who I am. And I'm not going to be afraid of that greatness. And I'm not going to dummy down that greatness at all. I've done that way too long. And I suggest that you guys do not do that either. Don't dummy down yourself for the sake of other people, for the sake of anything. Don't dummy yourself down. I recently had a job interview. I did. I had a job interview and I walked in there and I was like, you know what? I could code switch and I could do all of these things. And I was like, no. A few friends of mine was like, no, go into this thing being who you are, being the spirit and the energy that you are. I had my first interview and me and the young lady were talking as if we were friends. I came into the second interview and I wound up not taking the job, but I walked into that second interview and we were like going through, like, I swear it felt like she was like my friend from school that I haven't seen in a while. And that's who I am. That's that energy of who I am. I welcome everybody. But I wasn't going to not be me. And by the time I went into that interview, we were talking. It wasn't even an interview. It was a dialogue. It was a conversation amongst friends, you know? And so I walked out of there and I was like, okay, I'm putting this into practice. I walked into there saying, this is my greatness. This is who I am. And if you can't accept this, I am not going to change myself for anyone. I am no longer doing this. I'm no longer doing this to pacify somebody else's need or to pacify somebody else's ego. Not doing that anymore. I've done that for years. I have done that for years and I have forsaken my own greatness. And what I will not do anymore, what I will not do anymore is forsake my own greatness for someone else. Nope. Because what happens to me is that now, no, I can no longer walk my own road and get to my own purpose because I'm not walking in the fullness of myself. I need to walk in the fullness of myself in order to get to my purpose, in order to walk in my purpose, in order to get to the very thing that I was put on this earth to do. When I tell you I walked into this recent event and another thing that I have been doing a lot of times, there's things in my head that I'll be like, I'm right. I know what I know. I know what to do. I know what to do. This is me, blah, 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 blah. And yes, I have a core of myself that I know this is what I do. This is who I am. But at the end of the day, when we think we're right about everything is the moment that we're not teachable anymore. And there's always something to learn. There's always something to advance ourselves on. There's always a new perspective to be seen. There's always a moment to reach the sublime. And that's outer body thinking. That's next level thinking. And to get that, you have to be teachable. There's something to learn all the time. But the moment you walk into an environment or walk into a conversation just thinking that you know everything is the moment that you don't learn anything. You don't even learn what that person has to offer because you're so busy thinking about what you can give to that person, you know, and what you can offer and how your wisdom benefits somebody else. And it's so not about that. That's how we don't evolve. That's how we don't evolve as a people, is the moment when we stop listening and we just want to talk all the time. Listen. This has been the theme of this podcast, is listening. Listen. So I had some beautiful people tell me that day, the day before and the day of, to walk into that environment and just be me. Be me. And for the most part, I was like, you know, in that quick moment, I was like, I've already decided this. You know what I mean? This is what I've already decided. And so in that moment, I had to check myself. I had to humble myself. And I said, these people are trying to pour into me. These people are trying to pour into me. How ungrateful am I to not listen to these people that are trying to pour into me? The very thing that I have requested of the universe. And because in that quick second, I knew everything. I knew everything, baby. There wasn't nothing that they could say that I didn't already know about me and what I was going to do when I walked into that room. No, 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 no. That's not the person I wanted to be. And in that moment, I checked myself. And I said, no, no, no. Lenny, you're going to listen. And I allowed those people to pour into me something magnificent. And they were able to spill into me gems and perspectives that I wasn't thinking about, that I would have missed if I would have been like, oh, no, 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 I already know. Like, I know what I'm going to do. No, 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 no. Allow that person, because that person is moved on their heart. There's something moved on their heart to instill in me something, to share with me something, to give to me something. Who am I? Who am I to think that I'm greater than that person's gift of pouring in positivity into me and assurance and reminding me of my own greatness and allowing them to be there for me? This is who we are as human beings. This is the connection that is breaking because of technology, is that human interaction and the willingness to pour into each other. There are moments where we're not supposed to, I'm not supposed to pour into you. You're supposed to pour into me and vice versa. But we have to be willing to pour out our cup. So this way we have room for that. And that means thinking that you know it all and putting it to the side. Putting it to the side, because in that moment you don't. Allow that person to pour into you, because you never know how you're going to be inspired. You never know what you're going to learn. You never know how that is going to edify you in a different way. And it could be the very thing that you have been looking and requesting the universe for, but you missed out on it because in that moment you thought you knew everything. And so in that moment, I checked myself. And when I tell you, it was such a blessing, such a blessing. And this person told me to walk into that room being the genius that I am, being the gift that I am, and being the light that I am. And when I tell you, in that moment, I could have cried, because it was reassuring me, number one, that that person saw my intention. That person saw my intention. That person knew who I was and knew what I wanted to display to everyone. That means what I was doing and what I'm giving to people and the energy that I want to give is being seen, is being experienced. But they knew that I've been going through some things that has been causing me to dim that. And so with that reassurance, I was able to see the bigger picture here. The bigger picture that that person saw me, and wanted to be able to remind me of the very thing that they said that they signed up for. In that moment, I knew I owed it to myself and them to be all of who I am. Because for them to say, this is the very person and this is the idea that I signed up for, told me that they were being inspired by my heart, by my mind, and by my intentions. The very gift that I want to give to this world. And I knew, again, and in that moment, it reminded me that everything that I want to do is bigger than me. And that I need to grab hold of my superhero, grab hold of my warrior and put on my cape, wear my armor, and go into situations being the full greatness of who I am. It was absolutely moving. And so I went into that room being the greatness, just being who I am, being unapologetically me. And, for me, just, it was almost like a test or a practice run, or let me see how I can manifest this mindset. So I took this as an experiment, baby. I took this as an experiment. I took this as let me see how powerful my mind is, because again, we have the power to recreate ourselves, to create ourselves in any form or fashion that we desire, that's going to benefit us and humanity. So I walked in there and I was like, let me see how strong my mind is. I am going to will in that I, number one, want to be me, regardless of if anybody gets me, understands me, or whatever. And I want to spew, I want to exude nothing but love and joy and peace and light. That is my mantra all the time. I am love, I am peace, I am joy, I am light. And I said, I'm going to embody this. And then when it came down to my performance, I said, I want to be intense. I'm going to be intense. And I want to make people feel something. I want people to see something new. And I want people, they may not even understand what it is, but it moves on them differently. And I want them to see fearlessness. And so, again, I walked into this room and I was me. Not even 20 minutes into the time of me being there, I had a gentleman come up to me and go, I just really enjoy your energy. And I said, all right, God, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Because I'm an atmosphere changer, baby. I'm an atmosphere changer. And that is who I am. And that is who you are. That is who you are. And so by the end of the night, there were so many people, even if they didn't even care for my performance, they enjoyed the experience of just me. And because beyond the music, it's bigger than just the music. Who am I outside of that music? What am I going to exude outside of that? Like, who am I? What are you going to experience? How does that line up with the same mindset? Then when I went into the performance, I had this moment where I was like, I took it back for a moment. There's a moment where when I was singing gospel music where I would pause for a second right before each and every song and I would pray and I would get myself into a mindset and I would ask God for them to see her before they see me, experience her before they experience me. And I did that right before the performance. And I said, this was my intention. I will be intense. I want them to feel something. They will feel something, even if they can't explain it. They are going to get a different experience. And then at the end of it, I said, I don't want to be seen up here. I want you to be seen, God. I want you to be seen. And I performed. And I felt fearless. I felt new. I felt fresh. I felt adaptable. I felt powerful. I felt great. I felt vulnerable. I felt exposed. And I was okay with that. The key right here with all of it was that I was okay with that. I was okay with that. And it gave me so much joy afterwards. I didn't need the accolades afterwards of anybody saying, oh my God, you did such a great job, blah, 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 blah. I didn't need that. The victory in itself was me getting to that feeling where I am unapologetically myself, whether you get it or not. Because if you don't get it today, you will get it tomorrow. And if you don't get it tomorrow, you will get it the next day after that. Trust me, baby, you're going to get it. You're going to understand all of the parts of me because that's what I will. That's what I will. I am more than just music. I am more than just this person right now that you're seeing on this podcast or listening to on this podcast. I am more. I am more than what I even know. And every day I vow to evolve. I vow to be better and better and better. Because that's important to me. That's important to me. And because it's important to me, that's what's going to happen. I will manifest my greatness. And through that, what's interesting is I met some artists that night that were in the same frequency. And to know that there are other artists with this mindset was amazing. Was amazing to me. It reassured me, number one, that I'm not the only one. You know, there are some light warriors out here that are serious about the intention that they put into their music, you know, and that is not a dying concept. You know, I once heard somebody say that that I seemed unbelievable because that I was always like full of joy or always smiling or that there was hurt beyond my eyes or there was pain beyond my eyes. Yeah. Okay. I'm unbelievable. Why? Why? What is this telling you about yourself? What is this reflecting to you? Are you saying that it's impossible for people to be happy and exude that joy? Or are you saying that it doesn't seem realistic and the only thing you know to be possible is pain? And yeah, there might have been moments. I'm sure there were moments. I know there were moments where there were times on my Instagram where I would do my Monday motivation. And maybe in that moment, I didn't believe what I was saying all the way because I was going through. But at the end of the day, I knew what I needed to do to get to that point. And it wasn't just an affirmation for myself, for everyone else. It was an affirmation for me too. And in that vulnerability is the key to our connection. So it's not about judging what you see. It's about experiencing that and putting yourself in a different mindset to where you're open to listen, to experience. Stop trying to figure out everything. Some things are just not for you to figure out. They're just not. They're not. Sometimes we just got to let things be. And the moment that we let them be is the moment that we understand them. The moment that we get it, the moment that we're open, we open ourselves to different concepts, perceptions, and ideas. And with that births a new area of our imagination and a new area of possibility. It's such a beautiful thing when we can walk in our fullness, even if our fullness is not being happy one day, or even if our fullness is being so filled with joy that it seems unbelievable to someone else that someone can be that happy. It's actually incredible. Then that means somebody is beginning to question whether they realize it or not. You've now planted a seed in somebody because they can't believe that it's possible. So now they're going to begin to explore. And once they begin to explore is the moment that they will begin to see that, oh, there's different areas of this world. There's different mindsets and perceptions and ideas. Baby, the world is bigger than just what we're going through in our moment and our little perceptions. We got to think bigger, because when we really put it into simplest form, we are a tiny planet in a vast universe. And when we begin to think of all of that greatness that surround us and how tiny we truly are, you can't even begin to judge anybody else, because they're on the same playing field as you are, just trying to figure it out, baby, and trying to get to their purpose. And we're all looking for more. We are all looking for more. And someone else's journey for more, you should not compare yourself to. You should not be judgmental of. You should just be on your path for more. More insight, more vulnerability, more joy, more peace, more love, more light, more happiness, more success, more greatness. We are all looking for this balance. And yes, with everything comes a yin and a yang. There's going to be bad moments. And that's the thing we have to accept. We have to accept. We have to accept. And sometimes it's hard to get through. Like, I had my moments. It was very hard. And I'm going to have moments like that. But it's who you are in those moments that define your character, define who you are. We have the ability to change who we want to be all the time. All the time. And if it doesn't benefit the large concept that we have of ourselves, we can change that. We can change that. We can make ourselves anew. I can go through this day and go, okay, make a tally of the things that I didn't care for, and go, okay, next time I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to walk into that particular situation with that mindset, because number one, it didn't benefit me. And if it didn't benefit me, I know that I gave that energy out, and that's not the energy that I want to give out. And if we keep that mentality, what happens is it starts to become habit. And what habit becomes, it then becomes nature, and then becomes second nature, and then becomes who you are. So I had a bunch of notes. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even have to write these down, because I think I literally talked about everything. Yeah, that's hilarious. I literally talked about everything. This was a longer cast than what I wanted it to be. Yeah. You know, what was also refreshing was that at the end of that event, I had a friend of mine say, it was good to see you this joyful. I don't know what got into you, but it was good to see. And there were so many different things about that evening that were amazing. If you want to venture into some of the highlights and the lessons learned, I have a live video on my Instagram that you can watch. I don't think it's that long. It might have been like 20 minutes or so. It might have been 30 minutes. But I get in deeper about just how inspired I was after that night, and just for my own growth, and being able to tally myself and go, yes, I made that change. And because I saw myself being capable of that change, I know that it was possible. And so now I no longer have to doubt if I have the ability to do that, because in that moment, I knew I did. I knew I did. So that is the way that I choose to know myself from here on out. Today, I went a little less than that. I didn't find my mindset. I sang this morning, and by the time you guys hear this, this would be yesterday. Because again, yeah, this would be yesterday. And I was in my head only because my voice right now, I was irresponsible. I was irresponsible on a Saturday night. I'm very aware of my voice, and when cold enters my body, and when sick is trying to spread itself, I always feel this. And when I was leaving the event on Thursday, I had went outside to go get my mic stand. In that moment was when I felt the cold enter me, because I never put the scarf around my neck. And I felt it. And I was like, shit, I know that it's going to try to manifest itself. And I was strong-minded, never really caught the cold, but it started to affect my voice. And then Saturday night, I was just irresponsible. I was laughing and enjoying myself with friends and doing way too much. I had a little bit too much to drink, and I had to go through this phase of healing my voice. So, today I was just like, it was a little rough. So I had to get into a mindset that I wasn't 100% there, because I was just making sure that, I was in my pitches and I was on my notes and making sure that I exuded what I wanted to exude, but I was too much in my head. I didn't allow the idea to know myself that way and just let it go. I kept thinking about it. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, I'm understanding. This is what I do. Don't overthink. Know me as that, move on. And then walk in it. You already made the decision. That's who you're going to be. Walk in it. So I was like, okay. I'm noticing some things. It was a learning curve. It was a learning experience. Still a good performance. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, with me being at least 75% of where I was, still a good performance. But at the end of the day, that was my lesson. And I received that lesson. And so it's about getting into a mind frame. But what I will say is that even though I jacked up my voice, I made sure that I rested. I made sure that I didn't have anything that was mucus forming. And I got up this morning at 5:30 to make sure that I worked out, to make sure that I warmed up my voice that way, first and foremost, before I started vocalizing. Made sure I had my hot tea with me, being very responsible, because I knew in my irresponsibility of the things that I was doing. And then even yesterday, that's what I was doing too. I got up, did an hour of me just being on the treadmill, trying to wear this, whatever was trying to come up in me, and not saying that I was sick. No, because that's not what I claimed. I said that I'm healing. I'm healing. And because of that, that was the mindset that I was at. So I had enough of a voice to sing what I needed to sing today. And so that was my victory. That was my win. Because even in my irresponsibility, I still was able to take the necessary steps, because that's the person I want to be. I want to be the person that's responsible. So I learned from that lesson, and I said, nah, I jacked up. It's all about mindset, baby. Walk in your greatness. Walk in who you are. Walk in the fullness of you. You can change anything about yourself. Anything about yourself. All it is a decision. So put on your cape and go out here and make a difference, not only for yourself, but the people that you surround yourself with. Be an example of how to live. Show people new ways to think. It's going to be difficult. Well, in all things, there's difficulties, but it's about how you look at those difficulties. They can be difficult if you choose for them to be difficult. So, that's it. I am going to close. Again, this was way longer than what I wanted it to be, but that's all good. That's all good. Yes, that's all good. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Thank you for just taking this journey with me. I know that this is something completely different for myself. I am forever grateful that you're listening. I would ask a favor, if you do find this beneficial at any given moment and you think that somebody could be edified by this or be inspired by this, I would ask that you please share it. We are building our environment in a different way. So let's plant seeds of beauty around here. Let's plant seeds of the sublime around here. Let's make this bigger than us, So I love you guys. I'm sending you guys all hugs. Whenever you listen to this, I pray that you're inspired to walk into your fullness. So with that, I close this out. Remember to move in love, share your light, and be on purpose. And go out and hug somebody. Go out and hug somebody. You have no idea what a hug can do to someone. All right? And what it will do for yourself at the end of the day, okay? All right. That's it. I'm out. That's it.